Good afternoon, lovelies. It's a beautiful day today. And today we're going to be talking about taking offence. Or should I say, not taking offence. Taking offence is something that we all do, isn't it? Where somebody we feel makes a personal attack on us or someone we know, and that can be through criticism or even constructive criticism, or says something what we would deem offensive or to someone we love. Or someone may disagree with our own ideologies or even theology, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and because they disagree with us or attack our stance or our beliefs, we take offence because we so want people to like us, we so want people to believe in what we believe in, and we'll try and reflect on that and try and understand what's going on there. I say in the outset, I haven't got all the answers. This is just my reflection on these things, something that I've been thinking over this morning. The taking offence is an experience of negative emotions caused by a word or action which is in conflict with what we expect and believe to be right, appropriate, moral and acceptable behaviour. That's a long way of saying that we all have our idea of how the world should be. And if somebody disagrees with that or attacks your belief, then that triggers offence in us, and it can bring up all sorts of negative emotions, anger and things like that. And we'll try and work out what's going on there in a moment. But the first thing is there's personal offence, isn't there? Where someone says something personal to you and that triggers an offence in us and causes all sorts of emotions in us. Let me give you an example. This might be helpful for you. When I was 36 years old, someone in their late 50s said to me, "Wow, how old are you, Simon? You must be, what, same age as me?" And I was like, inside, I was like, "No, you're like 20 years older than me." And he thought I was the same age. Now, why did that trigger an offence in me? Because I thought I looked younger than what he was saying. I disagreed with his observation. So I felt that was a personal attack on the way I looked. So they showed my own insecurities and things like that. The funny thing is, I think I've mentioned this before, the week after, the same man said to me, "How old are you, what, 30, 35? So that was bizarre, wasn't it? So maybe the enemy was at work there. But I noticed that I took that observation from this man as a personal attack on my being. Now, this doesn't have to be about looks. It can be about what you do. For instance, if someone comes and criticizes you, or even if it's constructive criticism, we take offense because we think that person is saying to us that whatever we do, we don't do it well. So because we don't feel that we're doing it well, we take offense and we want to make it right. So we get angry and get defensive and argue and things like that. So here's personal criticism, personal offence in the form of somebody attacking the way you look or criticising what you do, and somehow we feel that lowers our value, therefore the offence kicks in and we try to defend ourselves. Another one is ideological offences. Again, remember what we said about we believe that the world should act and behave a certain way and believe in a certain thing, and when someone else disagrees with our own ideologies or someone attacks perhaps your belief, we take offence, and then we can get into all sorts of disputes and arguments. I'm not really going to go into it, but we saw this in Brexit. Remember, some people that never even thought before about European Union and Brexit all of a sudden took a certain stance, and people were getting offended all over our nation. And I'm not saying that some of their beliefs weren't right and appropriate, but that was the problem. The problem was people taking offence, and that caused disunity, arguments and disagreements, and even in some cases, violence. And I think we are a nation that take offence so easily, don't we? So ideological. It can even go into theological. Some people might disagree with my theological interpretations, and for some reason they take offence and then they attack me for my beliefs. I've noticed that because I believe in creationism, that God created the world. Sometimes that triggers a response in people because they think, for me believing that the world was created in 7 days and that Adam and Eve were really real people, they take offence because they think that I'm an embarrassment, because other people are going to think that Christianity is a joke. Well, that's... think of it the other way around. If people don't believe in that, if they believe in evolution, that we evolved over time, I haven't got a problem with that. That's what you believe. Let's have a conversation about it. I've learned over this time to not take offence, to listen to the other person, and to spend time understanding their belief, because I recognise that in lots of things, whether it's personal, whether it's ideological, whether it's theological, I could be wrong. And that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Pride, perhaps. So what's the answer? Well, I think at this moment, these offences are rooted in a false perspective of our security. So we desire security, safety, and good opinions of others. And when they don't come, or when somebody opposes that, it affects our own identity. So it's important that we are secure in someone other than ourselves. Because if we're getting our own security in ourselves, then depending on who criticises you, depending on who disagrees with you, you'll be up and down like a yo-yo. So really, I'm rooted in Christ. I know his love for me. I know I'm called and anointed of him. And I know what I'm doing under his guidance. So whatever anybody says to me, if someone says to me, Simon, you look old, I'll say, well, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm exactly as old as the Lord wants me to look. See what I mean? It's diffused straight away. If somebody disagrees with my ideology, I say, well, I could be wrong. Let me listen to your view. Let's have a conversation about it. Diffused. If someone disagrees with my theology, I say, well, this is what I believe, but I understand that I could be wrong. Let me listen to yours. See how that gets diffused. You're opening up for a conversation and a debate. I'm going to end with this a couple of wonderful verses. It talks about covering offences, namely through love. In Proverbs chapter 10, verse 12, and Proverbs chapter 17, verse 9, it says this: love covers all offences, and whoever covers an offence seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close friends. So here, the two things. First thing, we must understand God's love for us, because if we are secure in his love, then whatever people say to us won't affect us, because we just know that we're loved and accepted by God. Secondly, that covering offence, when someone says something to you, trying to understand things from their point of view, they might have something going on here that the Lord needs to deal with in them. And by extending that covering over them, you can open up a wonderful debate. So love covers. Remember, love covers a multitude of sins, and we should cover all offences with love, knowing God's love for us and loving others loving others as much as we love ourselves. Wow, I've rambled on for 9 minutes. So remember, do not take offence. I think a lot of the issues in the church today, a lot of issues in families and friendships, are just a load of people going around taking up and building up and storing up offences. Remember, allow love to cover those offences, and just remember to humble ourselves before God and to listen and be attentive to others, so that we can have a debate about things rather than having to make everybody believe in what we believe in. So that's all I wanted to say today. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Don't forget to come and join us tonight for prayer, and also for life group at 7:30. We're going to be looking at Ephesians chapter 5. See you later.